I was hosting my son's birthday in our backyard when my neighbor stormed over, uninvited, screaming, "You didn't ask me for permission to have noise today!" She grabbed the cake off the table and slammed it into the grass in front of all the kids. My 6-year-old burst into tears. Her husband just stood there, filming it all with a smile. That night, I found my fence spray painted with the words, "Selfish trash." I installed a camera, and what I caught the next morning made me call the police. I never thought I'd say this, but I think my neighbor is genuinely unstable. I always believed you could reason with people, or at least ignore them long enough that they stop bothering you. I was wrong. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Mark. I'm 38, married to my wife Amy, and we have one son, Tyler. He turned 6 last Saturday. We live in a suburb just outside Springfield, Missouri. Normal place, quiet most days, with neighbors who usually mind their business. Except for the ones living right next to us, Megan and her husband Dave. When we first moved in 3 years ago, they didn't make much noise. No one warned us about them. They kept their yard neat, didn't party, and we thought they were just another middle-aged couple who liked their privacy. That changed about a year ago. Megan started showing her true colors. She complained when our trash bins weren't brought in the same hour the truck came by. She knocked on our door at 6:15 a.m. once to say our porch light was too bright. She left a note on our windshield when we parked a few inches over the sidewalk one time. Petty stuff. Small things that we brushed off. Her husband, Dave, never spoke. He followed her like a shadow. He carried his phone around like it was part of his body, always filming things. His face always had that quiet, smug smile, like he was recording evidence for some case only he cared about. So when my son's birthday was coming up, Amy and I made a plan. Just a backyard party. Nothing huge. A rented bounce house, folding tables, some snacks, cake, and music from a small Bluetooth speaker. Maybe 15 kids and their parents. I even walked the perimeter of our yard the day before to make sure nothing crossed into their side. I wanted no excuses. The party started around 2 p.m. Kids showed up smiling, bouncing in excitement. My wife helped them into the bounce house while I set out drinks and snacks. Everything was going fine. Music was on, not loud, just happy birthday songs and Disney stuff. Parents were sitting in lawn chairs, chatting, drinking soda. It felt good. Tyler was glowing. Then, around 2:40 p.m., the gate to our backyard slammed open. I turned and saw Megan charging in. She wasn't walking, she was marching, with this furious look in her eyes. Everyone turned to look. Kids stopped laughing. Even the music felt like it went quiet. She shouted, loud enough for the whole yard to hear, "You didn't ask me for permission to have noise today!" I blinked. "What?" She kept going. "You think you can just throw a party and blast music without telling your neighbors? This isn't a circus." I tried to calm her down. "Megan, it's a kid's party. It's not even loud." She looked like she wasn't listening. She stormed over to the snack table. My son's birthday cake. His dinosaur-themed vanilla cake with chocolate frosting was right there in the center. Without warning, she picked it up and smashed it face down into the grass. I can still hear the sound. A wet smack. Frosting and crumbled cake all over the lawn. Tyler screamed. He didn't cry right away, just screamed, like he couldn't believe what he saw. Then the tears came. Ugly, loud sobs. Kids stared in shock. One girl dropped her juice box and whispered, "Why did she do that?" I didn't move. I was frozen. Amy rushed to pick up our son and held him. I looked at Megan, who stood there breathing hard, like she just won something. Dave was at the gate, phone in hand, filming the whole thing. That same creepy smile on his face. "Megan," I said, finally finding my voice. "Leave," she snapped back. "You people are selfish trash." Then she turned and walked out like she didn't just wreck a 6-year-old's birthday. No apology. No shame. Just poison. Amy took Tyler inside. I stayed behind, trying to clean up what I could. The cake was ruined. The parents helped where they could, but the mood was dead. We brought out some backup cupcakes, but my son didn't want anything. He kept whispering, "Why did she break it?" That night, after everyone left and we'd taken down the bounce house, I sat in the backyard with a beer and stared at the empty tables. Amy was inside trying to calm Tyler down. He didn't want to sleep. Said he didn't feel safe. That broke me a little. At around 11:30, I went out front to take the trash to the curb. That's when I saw it. Our wooden fence, on the side facing Megan's yard, had been spray-painted in huge, red letters, "Selfish trash," same exact word she yelled earlier. I couldn't even be shocked anymore. I just felt cold. The next morning, I went online and ordered a security camera. I didn't say anything to her. I didn't call the cops. Not yet. I just waited. The camera came 2 days later, and I set it up to cover the entire backyard, the side fence, and the gate. Night vision. Motion alerts. On the third morning after the party, I got a ping at 4:42 a.m. motion detected. I opened the app while sitting at my kitchen table. The video loaded slowly. And there she was, Megan, in a bathrobe and slippers, standing in my backyard. She had a can of red spray paint again and a pair of scissors. She was cutting the string lights we hung for the party. Snipping through each one, tossing the bulbs to the ground. Then she walked to the decorations we hadn't taken down, paper dinosaurs and some streamers, and tore them off one by one. Then she picked up Tyler's ceramic garden gnome, the one he painted last summer during his art camp. He loved that stupid gnome. She smashed it against the bricks near the patio. Just smashed it without blinking. I downloaded the footage and called the police. When the officer came, I didn't hold back. I showed him everything: video, spray paint, photos from the party, the cake on the ground. He nodded, took notes, and said, "This isn't her first complaint. She had a record. Not arrests, but calls. Disputes with other neighbors, disturbing the peace, even a noise complaint about her screaming at delivery drivers. They took it seriously. But I wasn't done. A few days after the police visit, I got a call. The officer said Megan was officially warned and that we had enough evidence to request a restraining order. I filed for one the same day. It passed. She couldn't come within 30 feet of our property. I thought that would scare her. It didn't. Instead, she got sneakier. The day after the order went through, I noticed someone had poured bleach into our flower beds. Killed all the marigolds Tyler and Amy planted the month before. I didn't have footage of it though. That part of the yard was just outside the camera's range. I adjusted the angle the next day. Then it got worse. 2 nights later, at around midnight, I heard a loud popping sound outside. I ran to the window. Our tire, my wife's front right tire, was completely flat. When I walked up to it, I found a screw sticking out of the rubber. I checked the footage. It was dark, but I could just barely make out someone in a hoodie crouching near the car for a few seconds before slipping away toward the side of the house. I showed it to the police, but the figure was too blurry to identify. They said they'd log it, but unless we had a clearer video or caught her in the act again, there wasn't much else they could do. Amy was scared. She started parking down the block at her sister's house and walking home. She didn't want our son anywhere near the backyard. She even suggested we think about moving. But I was done being scared. I installed 2 more cameras, one over the driveway, one facing the side of the house. Full color, better resolution, night mode. I didn't tell anyone. I wanted them to catch everything. Then came the next twist: Dave. He came over one afternoon, uninvited, while I was out mowing the lawn. He leaned on the fence like we were just neighbors having a talk. "Hey Mark," he said, smiling like always. "Just wanted to clear the air." I shut the mower off. "You're standing on the wrong property for that." He laughed. "Look, I get it. Megan's a little intense. But you know, these neighborhood fights, kinda silly, right? I didn't say anything. He kept going. Thing is, Megan's been under a lot of stress. I think you poking at her online, posting videos and all, that's what pushed her. My jaw tightened. You mean when she smashed my kid's cake in front of a bunch of children? He shrugged. Kids forget. Adults need to learn how to move on. I took a step toward him. You filming all this too? He just smiled again. Just trying to help, man. I turned my back and walked into the house. Amy had been filming from the window the entire time. I uploaded that video to our private drive too. I didn't trust any of them now. 2 days later, I got a call from the neighborhood HOA. They were concerned about the social media posts and wanted to speak with me at their next meeting. I agreed to go. When I showed up, I realized Dave was already there. So was Megan. She had printed copies of screenshots from our neighborhood Facebook group and handed them out like some courtroom trial. She was claiming harassment. He's trying to turn everyone against us, she said. I waited until she was done, then pulled out my phone. I have video of her breaking into my yard. Video of her smashing my son's cake. Video of her vandalizing my fence and killing my son's gnome. She's got a restraining order, and she's broken it twice. One of the board members asked if I could show the videos. I did. On a projector in front of the whole room. People gasped. One woman covered her mouth when they saw Megan in the yard at night with scissors. After that meeting, something shifted. Neighbors started siding with us openly. People who never spoke to us before now waved when we walked by. One elderly man came by with flowers and told Tyler, "That lady's not gonna hurt your garden again, buddy." The best part? Someone in the room recognized Dave's company logo on his phone case in one of my videos. Turns out, he works for a national real estate agency with a no-tolerance policy for client-adjacent misconduct. The HOA board president was a retired agent from the same company. She made a few calls. 3 days later, Dave's car didn't show up in his driveway. 4 days later, a for sale sign appeared in their yard. When that for sale sign went up, I thought it was over. It wasn't. I found out from a neighbor, one of the real friendly older ladies who walks her dogs past our house every morning, that Megan had told people they were moving because of bullying. She said I planted the footage, claimed I edited it all to make her look bad. She said you set her up. The woman told me, almost whispering. I laughed at first. Then I stopped laughing when I noticed something weird in our mailbox. A typed note. No return address. Enjoy your little victory. Real life's messier than your cameras. That same night, my new side yard camera picked up a motion alert. When I reviewed the footage, it wasn't Megan. It was someone else, a teenage girl, maybe 15 or 16, with long black hair and a backpack. She walked into our side yard, sprayed something on our central AC unit, and ran. I ran outside right away. She was already gone. By the time I checked the AC, the smell hit me, urine. She had dumped a bottle of urine all over the unit, and poured something sticky into the vents. My wife gagged when she walked out to see what happened. I called the cops again, handed over the footage. They couldn't ID her. But I had a gut feeling, she wasn't acting on her own. The next day, I drove to the edge of town and had a full metal cage installed over the unit. Locked. Tamper-proof. I wasn't giving anyone another chance. And then came the biggest twist yet. A letter arrived from a lawyer's office. Megan had filed a civil complaint. She was suing me for emotional distress caused by the public defamation from my social media posts. I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. It was real. A demand for damages, $5,000, and a cease and desist for any more posts that referenced or implied behavior by the complainant. I took it straight to my cousin, who's a legal assistant. She connected me with a local attorney who reviewed everything. He laughed out loud when he saw the footage. This won't stick, he said. But she's trying to scare you into silence. He advised I countersue, for damages, property destruction, harassment. I hesitated. But then I remembered Tyler's face when he saw his smashed cake. How he cried into my shoulder for an hour that day. How he started avoiding the backyard altogether. So I said, "Let's do it." We filed a counterclaim for $12,000. That's when Megan lost her damn mind. 3 nights after she was served the counterclaim paperwork, my car alarm went off at 3:12 a.m. I shot out of bed, ran to the window, nothing. But when I got downstairs, I saw it. Someone had thrown raw chicken guts all over the hood of my car. Smelled like it had been sitting out in the sun before they brought it over. My headlights were splattered. The windshield wipers had meat wrapped around them. And next to it, written in grease pencil on the driveway, "You asked for this." This time, the camera footage caught her. Full face. Clear as day. Megan. In pajama pants, no shoes, tossing the mess from a grocery bag. No hoodie. No mask. Like she didn't even care anymore. The cops came. We showed the footage. They arrested her at 4:17 a.m. Dave came running out of the house yelling at the officers. "You can't do this! She's being harassed!" But the officers ignored him. They read her rights, cuffed her, and walked her to the squad car. Tyler watched from the upstairs window, silent. Amy cried on the couch. I didn't feel joy. I felt like it still wasn't over. Because deep down, I knew people like Megan don't go away quietly. Megan spent 1 night in jail. She was released the next day, charged with trespassing, property damage, and violating a restraining order. The chicken stunt pushed it over the edge. I should have felt victorious. But things weren't calm. Not yet. Dave stayed behind in the house. We didn't see Megan after that. Word was she went to stay with her sister in Kansas City while they sorted legal stuff. Their house sale stalled. The real estate agent dropped them after finding out about the arrest. The HOA issued another fine and announced that Megan was banned from attending any more meetings. But the lawsuit still stood. I kept pushing forward with the counterclaim. I had receipts, videos, police reports. Every incident was backed up. We weren't just trying to make her pay money, we wanted to make sure she couldn't pretend she was the victim anymore. A court date was set. 2 weeks before that date, Dave did something no one expected. He showed up on our porch at 7 a.m., alone, holding an envelope. Amy saw him through the peephole. "Don't open it," she said. "He's up to something." But I did. I stepped outside and shut the door behind me. He handed me the envelope and said, "She's not coming back." I didn't say anything. "She's in treatment. Like real treatment. They diagnosed her with something, bipolar, I think. I don't know. I didn't ask. I moved her stuff out myself." Still, I said nothing. "She ruined everything," he added. "And I just filmed it all like a coward." I looked down at the envelope. It was thick. "That's $5,000, he said. "She wanted to settle. If you agree, it all ends. She drops her suit. You drop yours. No court." I opened the envelope. Cash. All hundreds. Crisp, clean. I should have felt like I won. But instead, I felt something heavier. "She hurt my son," I said. "This wasn't just about a cake. She made a little boy afraid to play in his own yard." Dave looked away. "I know." I stood there, holding the envelope. Thinking. Then I asked, "Why'd you just watch?" He didn't answer for a while. Then said, "Because I was too weak to stop her." And then he walked off my porch. I went back inside and sat down at the kitchen table with Amy. We counted the money. She stared at it for a long time. "What are you going to do?" she asked. I didn't answer her right away. But that afternoon, I took the money to the lawyer and told him I was settling under one condition, that the court records still include the video evidence, the restraining order, and the arrest. I didn't want silence. I wanted truth. He made the call. Megan's lawyer agreed. And that was that. They moved out 6 weeks later. Their house sat empty for 2 months before a retired couple bought it. Quiet people. Real polite. They brought cookies to the door the first week. Tyler went back to playing in the yard. He planted a new garden with Amy. We replaced the gnome. One day, out of nowhere, he asked me, "Is that mean lady gone forever?" I knelt down and said, "Yeah, buddy. She's gone." But here's the part one didn't expect. Sometimes I still see Dave. At the grocery store. At the gas station. Always alone. Always with that same quiet smile, but now it's sad. And sometimes I wonder if I should have pushed harder. If I should have gone through with the lawsuit and made her face every inch of what she did in court. But then I remember, revenge isn't always about watching someone suffer. Sometimes it's about standing tall when someone tried to knock you down, and making damn sure they never get the chance again. And if Megan ever does come back? My cameras are still rolling. And I'll be ready.